I'm going to bring it in. Hey there, welcome to Motorcycles and Misfits here at the Recycle Garage in sunny Santa Cruz, California. What? How's it going, everyone? And it was sunny, it was rainy, it was misty. It was all the things this weekend, but today it was just a beautiful day. And we had a good time in the garage. So we're going to talk about things we did this weekend. But first, I want to get to who is here with us. Hey, everyone. This is Liza. And don't I look peachy today? All right. Also, in the Zoom room with us, it's Miss Emma.
Hello, darlings. Hello. It's lovely to be here. Hello. And we are in sunny Monterey, California. Just down the road. Close neighbors.
It was a perfect day for protests. Also joining us, everyone's favorite ginger, it's Bagel.
The revolution will not be televised.
Yeah, preach, brother. Preach. Preach. I can dig it.
All right. Wearing his pretty and pink Santa Cruz jersey, it's Naked Jim.
Hey. So try to think of something funny to say, but this country is such a shit show right now. It's kind of hard to. But I listened to some John Lennon. They say I'm a dreamer. I know I'm not the only one. And
Ooh.
Jack Miller is going to be racing for Ducati in GP next year. So I'm pretty stoked about that.
I can back anyone with that last name. I'm probably related, you know.
Somewhere
All right.
along the way.
And grinning like the usual idiot he is, it's Knock.
Hey, I just wiped a whole bunch of smegma from underneath my armpit.
I literally took a bite of pasta with meatball while you said that.
So the thing
It's
about
like
having
that time Knox
a
tossed my
broken...
salad.
Want some Parmesan with that?
So the thing about having a broken collarbone is you can't lift your arm up. And so, like, you got to get in there when you take a shower and make sure you scrub good.
And I mean, what is your body producing this cottage cheese? I mean, what's happening, Knock?
I'm a sneaky one, man. What are you going to say, you know?
Oh, my God.
Sharing is caring.
Hey, Knock, when you picked it out, did it look like this?
I mean, it's just a heads up for anybody who can't get their arms above their shoulders in some kind of future mishap, you know? Just make sure you got your brush ready.
Hey, it's Knock's top tip. Don't forget to wipe away the smegma.
Such a horrible word.
All right.
Such a horrible word.
All right. And joining us for the first time in a while, first time on the Zoom call, it's John Dalton.
Hello, baby. We can do it. Take the time. Do it right. We can do it, baby. Do it tonight.
Oh, my. We've got so much to talk about. A couple of things I wanted to throw out there. We had a great day in the garage. A bunch of us got there early, thanks to John Dalton, Bagel, and Miss Emma, because we turned the garage into a studio and did a little film shoot for the.
I thought the garage was a studio posing as a garage.
Exactly. For our upcoming Misfits and Motorcycles YouTube show with Emma and I. So, hopefully we've got. Every time we go out and do a shoot, I learn the limits or the problems with the cheap gear that I buy, and then I have to upgrade to better gear. And we run into a couple snafus, but hopefully I can save it and use it and get some episodes out there. They're good.
You never learn, man.
Dude, I do learn. And we've talked about this before. I do the same with tools. You buy cheap, and then you replace what you need to.
I will give you credit. You did buy legit handguards. First, I thought they were bang bong, but no, you bought legit handguards. So I give you credit for that.
Bang bong handguards.
Well, the last thing you bought were those risers that snapped off when Bodget crashed your bike.
Exactly.
Right?
You got to try it, and then you buy
I'll give you credit for that.
When it's the difference between $20 and $120, try the 20. You never know. It's worth it.
Unless you connect your
It was
handlebars
like
to your
$90
motorcycle,
and
then don't do that.
money. I'll just pay for the good stuff. But so yeah, we had a good time doing that film shoot. But you know what was just a shining star moment at the garage, and Naki missed it. This was so brilliant. We had kind of wrapped up. Charlie and Jeremy was there, and Emma and Bagel and John. Were you still there? Yeah,
Yeah, I was still there. Mm-hmm.
And this kid walked up out of nowhere. So I was like, "Hey, I have a mini bike, and I was told you can help." Like, okay, sure. Hey, kid, come on over. And his name is Owen, and he's 14 and a half, as he told us. And he bought a piece of shit little pull start mini bike. These things, I mean, at that age, these things are so much fun. And just to go like ride reckless through the streets and, do whatever, but more so learning how to fix and repair and bodge, a small little motorcycle. The problem with this, no brakes.
I call that, it's a medical condition. It's early onset hooliganism. That's what happens. It only gets worse.
Definitely awesome. Bless your little heart. It was a 212cc pull start motor shoved into a vintage mini bike frame with no brakes.
Well,
Didn't we see one of these last year?
Yeah, something like that.
When I did meet Owen, he reminded me of what David Lee Roth might have been like at 12. So, no breaks are okay.
Wait, was he doing taekwondo kicks left and right?
I was impressed with this kid. Weren't you, Emma?
I was, very much so. And we had to kind of tone it down a bit because Owen arrived with his mum.
Yeah.
And she was looking a little worried. And so...
First mistake.
Owen is just brimming with confidence. And I didn't want to shoot him down and just say, this mini bike's never really going to run in the form it is. But we've kind of lit a bit of a fire underneath him and hopefully sent him in a new direction. But future biker.
I love how you're so
gentle
with him, and I'm like, all right, kid, I'm going to shoot it to you straight. This is a piece of shit.
This is a death trap, what you told Mom. By the way, this is a death trap.
Inspired.
No, this thing, the problem, so it had a chain on it, and the master link they lost, but the engine it sits on a part of the frame with slotted openings so that you could slide it and get it in the right place, but they welded it in place. And the axle was also welded to the frame.
Okay.
So you couldn't adjust it, and there was too much slack, and the chain just keeps coming off.
No.
Man.
Oops.
And the engine was so big, and it sat to the side so you can get the chain aligned on the left side. It stuck so far out the right side, it was stuck out further than the foot peg. So you couldn't get your foot on the foot peg.
So you're saying that they made a Vespa?
Yeah. Yeah, it was having to tell this kid, this is not the project. Here's the thing though, he has a job and he raised the money to buy this, spent $150 to learn a lesson. But it's a good lesson because what I saw in this kid, and maybe Emma, you saw this too, he's a future rider. He reminds me of me. I was 14 when I got my first mini bike riding reckless through the streets, And so we took the opportunity, Charlie and Micah were there too, to tell him and his mom, here's what you should do, our best advice. And we pulled out Jim's TTR 125 and let him sit on it. Fit him perfect. He was in love. We're like, raise the money, buy a dirt bike, be it something like this you can get for $1,500, or spend a couple $100 on a 70s, vintage dirt bike. We'll help you fix it up. But you'll learn how to wrench, you'll learn how to ride. And then I turned to Mom, I'm like, are you willing to support him and to take him out to Hollister Hills and let him learn to ride in the dirt? She's like, I could read a book.
Yeah, when he hopped on that bike, he was jazzed. And you're like, he was a smart thinking because he's sitting on this dirt bike and it fit him perfectly. He was like just addicted immediately. And he goes, Mom, shoot, we don't have a truck. But then he's like, but Aunt so-and-so or somebody does. So he already problem solved how to get the bike to Hollister. So, yeah, that kid, he's jazzed.
Yeah. Yeah, Knock.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that you had them leaving with options, you know? It's sometimes you can't get the thing you want done that day, but at least you're leaving with options about what's going to happen in the future, which is like comforting.
He's got
in
it
general.
all planned out about when
Yeah.
he turns 15 and a half and he can take the test and get his permit, and then he's going to get like a ninja, and he's got the plan. I'm like, I recognize, again, this was me. How am I going to get on a bike? I just want to ride. I'm like,
Dude, I didn't have plans till I was like 27, man.
I like the way the kid's eyes lit up. He goes, "So how old do you have to be to get a license?" And all of us like, "You don't need a license." And he was like, "What?"
not up for the dirt, son. You just
yeah,
need
when he heard
somebody
that, he was
who
like,
all
"Oh."
bike. So I said, hey, start coming here on Sundays. We'll let you ride our mini bike. Maybe we'll take you down down the street on a dirt bike. Micah said, I will give you lessons. He doesn't know how to do a clutch or gears or anything. We took him in and gave him free gear. He got some boots and a leather jacket. So at least he has some safe gear. He reminds me kind of when Jake showed up, Jim. And she was kind of like our shop mascot for a long time.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm eyeing this kid up, and I'm thinking the same thing. And I'm like, it won't be long before he's sitting in a chair sanding a gas tank for 15 hours. Remember the stuff you used to make Jake do when she first showed up? Sanding gas tanks, taking garbage out. She was your little minion.
Well, actually, I have a plan for Owen he doesn't know about yet.
Oh, it's not dildo cleaning, is it?
No.
Oh, no.
Better
Okay,
than
good.
Is he
that.
our intern? Because if he's our intern, we give him a Glock and a Speedo.
Better than that. So he has a job, and unfortunately, he works on Sundays, but he says he can come for like the last hour of the day and hang out with us. But what I'm going to pitch is he takes the day off and doesn't work, and we arrange to do bike washes. He can raise more money.
So you're telling him to skip work already?
No, I'm telling him he can come make more money with us. Like once a
change
month
the
or something.
schedule.
Once a month.
Oh,
Yeah, once a month, come over. I'll line up some bikes for you to clean. You can make a couple $100. I mean, John Dalton, you've done that.
Yeah, it didn't go over well.
Well,
Well, yeah, because you guys had me in underwear and it was very saggy.
You're saggy underwear.
Oh.
Yeah, and it wasn't working. No.
Yeah, but I feel a 14-year-old will have much tighter underwear, so we should.
Oh my goodness.
Let's not go there.
So, what are we going to talk about today?
God.
Well, let's get an update from Knock. Knock, how you feeling?
A lot better. I mean, I was off the hydrocodones like maybe 2 or 3 days into it because my feet were swelling up like a diabetic for some fucking reason.
Ooh.
Yeah,
So
not
weird, man. Started getting a rash. Like, this is not good. Like, so I just kind of
Yeah.
worked out the pain, and I'm a lot better now. I mean, a little bit more mobile. My shoulder still hurts.
Yeah.
glad
Just
you're
drop
okay.
those off at the
Twice.
garage, just get rid of them.
Yeah.
So how's your toe?
Toe's good. I guess it wasn't as bad of a break as I thought it was, or at least it broke a certain way to where it's,
Or
not
you
super painful.
underestimated how big of a baby you are?
Yeah. Yeah.
Toes hurt, man. Toes hurt. I'm with you.
When you're
Knox.
grape
That shit
crushing,
hurts,
when you're
man.
grape crushing, it's not a fun time. It's so bad.
Oh. Well, I did offer, and if you need the scooter, because I realized
Yeah.
you only need your right hand on that thing.
I think so. I think part of the problem with that is I like to turn my shoulders when I look, not just my head.
Mhm.
And that, and the ribs, yeah.
Yeah, and you really do need to use both arms, even if you don't
Yeah.
have to use a clutch. So it's like it's the arm motion that kills you. It's not the hand motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you need to make like a food run or something, you're welcome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, people have been super cool. Shout out to Kat and Lynn and Charlie and you guys and fucking, the whole crew. Very, very
Aw.
awesome. Doug,
Right on.
Cool.
helping me out grabbing groceries and stuff. So that's been pretty cool.
Aw.
So you have an update for us on your gear?
Yeah, very quickly. I just wanted to do a real quick gear autopsy. I was going to just a quick rundown of the stuff that I was wearing when it crashed and what worked and what didn't. Yeah, give me a second here.
Well, because while you're bringing that up, I found out today that Jeremy had a bad crash. Apparently, he nailed a car head on and
Oh
kind
shit!
of
Yeah, he was telling me about it. He was on
flew over the
236.
car,
Yeah,
but was wearing all the gear and was fine.
yeah, he was on 236, which is it's a single lane, super twisty, like motard style road on his Super Hawk, and everybody kind of crowds the middle lane there, the center of the road, and he was in the center, and the car was a little bit in the center, and they were both not in the center at one point. So,
Yep.
Yeah, so
about the same space.
he bent the front end in, but again, I know some people hate it when we preach about gear, but whenever we get a report that we can say, hey, and they walked away and are fine,
Yeah.
we want to make sure people know that. So not
Have you ever noticed? Oh, I'm sorry. Have you ever noticed with the Misfits is when we crash, we kind of crash en masse. And there's like 5 or 6 accident reports, and then there's nothing for a couple of years.
Yeah, I know.
it's like
I'm
it's the
touching
pollen.
wood
I
right
blame
now.
the pollen.
So what's the rundown, Knock?
So the rundown from head to toe, helmet. The helmet that I'm running is the Bell MX-9 with the MIPS protection system.
Mm-hmm.
One of these. And this thing is fucking awesome. Like there's hardly any damage. I mean, sure, the visor pin that holds the visor and the cowl broke off, but I hit the side of this thing really fucking hard, and my neck was not sore at all. Like,
Right.
this thing kind of twisted and rotated the way it was supposed to, or the way it was engineered. And I think initially I said like I couldn't really see what happened is because the thing twisted around, but my head was like in a regular spot, and it kind of pushed my glasses out of the way. But this thing held out like a damn champ. I'm getting rid of this one. I'm just gonna get a new one, and they're not expensive. They're like $250 online,
Wow.
at like Godzilla, and they come in different colorways and all that stuff. Yeah,
And I think, Knock, the fact that helmet has had a hard impact, and the fact that you're still talking in coherent sentences speaks a lot about the strength of the helmet.
Well,
Right, exactly.
as much as he did before that.
yeah.
Right. Well, I was going to say too that the you didn't have a concussion or anything, right?
No, I was
Yeah,
just
and
like I
that's-
got the
Yeah, that's huge.
yeah. I just got the wind knocked out of me, and like I said, my glasses like shifted out of place.
Yeah, that MIP system. Yeah, that's right. That MIP system really does a great job, because I remember reading about that when it first came out, and yeah, that's really great to hear.
Yeah, and it's like you're not paying a super premium for it either. It's like it seems like it's like a standard thing that you just get in helmets these days,
Yeah.
But moving down is my knee pads. These are the Liats, and I've actually gone down in these knee pads a whole bunch of times, and this thing has taken like 5 or 6 hits, and all of them, almost all of them are on pavement, and they still flex, they still work pretty good. I bought these like 4 years ago. They still fit me. They're,
Wait, are you wearing those under your jeans?
yeah.
I just thought you had really thick legs.
No,
Hey, so
but
I
we
have a
can say
question
that though. I'm looking with that. I got tree trunk soccer legs like rugby players.
I have a question, Doc, because you spend a lot of time on the bike. Do you wear anything underneath those?
Say that again.
Do you wear anything underneath your knee guards, like compression pants or any of that kind of shit?
Depends on the weather. If it's going to be sweaty, I usually wear a wicking layer. If it's going to be too cold, I wear a thermal layer.
Okay.
I like to keep something in between my skin and the actual pads, just for so it's doesn't get so funky. It's easier to wash.
Right. So do those things bind at all behind your knees or any of that kind of stuff?
No, like they're like any kind of gear. They have to break in a little bit, and they're a little stiff when they're new. But they're like I could have them on for hours, and it's not a problem.
Yeah, and it's not like individual straps across the back of your thigh.
There are 3 straps, and they're got like memory retention kind of like strap settings. So you strap it on, and and this
creepy.
the jacket that I was wearing was actually like I think Modi or John donated it to the garage, and like I don't think I was caught without a jacket, and like you just gave this thing to me, and like it's a summer jacket, it's an Alpine Stars, but they had to cut this thing off of me, and this is like the damage that occurred was just the
Mhm.
shoulder, slight abrasion. I mean, aside from that, I mean, that's really the only thing that got damaged. One more point about my broken toe in the boot.
Yeah. 'Cause you were wearing your street boots, not your dirt boots, because you often wear your dirt boots even though you're riding on the street, just
Right.
because they're so much bigger, thicker protection.
Yeah, sorry, I had my boot here.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'll just use my right one. So there's actually no damage on my actual boot either. But this is like a sport bike boot. This is the
Right.
Alpine Stars MX Plus. The thing is with sport bike boots is their soles are thin, so you can feel the shifter and like your foot in the bike, and the top of the shoe or the boot is also thin, so you could feel upshifts and stuff. And the problem with that is like you sacrifice feel for like flexibility. You know what I mean? This thing is
Mhm.
bended like a motherfucker, but yeah.
It's there to protect your ankles, really.
Yeah, exactly. From high sides
Yeah.
or whatever else, I guess. So
So it doesn't really offer crush protection, just
yeah.
some armor. Yeah.
Yeah, all told, all that gear is probably less than $500, man. So, but I mean, like $500, and I'll take it. I had zero abrasion damage. It was all just like my fat 185 slapping the ground very robustly. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
That's $500 well spent.
thank you
Yeah,
for
I
the
think so.
thank you for the report. We actually get to now carry this theme on to someone else who has crashed a couple times recently. John Dalton.
Hey. Yay.
There's a reason you're here. So let me build this up. So last weekend, Jim and I talked about going on the epic ride where there was a little bit of dirt and back roads, and it was really great. And there's this amazing road we've discovered that's down south, just about an hour from here, a little less, that goes up over a mountain, and it's a maintained dirt road. I think it's an access road, a fire road, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. Half of it is twisties alongside the cliff's edge, and the rest of it is pastures with cows and turkeys and
Squirrels.
and birds. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
And we sent John down there because he got a new to him. You want to say what bike you got?
Yeah, I got to keep it on the DL though. Huh? Anyway, it's a DL. It's a DL 650 V-Strom, a 2009. And so I was just pretty stoked to be able to try dirt. And then I asked Liza,
John,
hey.
John,
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, I'm going to stop you there, darling.
What happened?
It's not a V-Strom. It's a Wee-Strom.
That's a Wee-Strom.
It's a
Just a Wee-Strom.
It's just a Wee-Strom.
Hey, John, pull the
Yeah.
microphone away a little bit. You got a hot mic.
Okay, hot mic.
Yeah, that's good.
Like a hot tub.
So no dirt experience, but he wanted to get into adventure riding, and I thought that this dirt road, which isn't gnarly or anything, I mean, most is twisting or dealing with some hills, but I thought that would be a great, beautiful, scenic ride. So I sent him down there. How did it go for you?
Okay, so I got about a little.
Now you can move the mic closer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I've got I got up a few twisties, and then I went around this corner, and then scrubbed out, and then I kept trying to lift my bike like I saw on the videos, but the bike fell the wrong way. So anyway, I'm sitting there forever trying to lift it up, and then I was out there for about an hour until this guy came by and then helped me pick it up.
And I want to paint a picture because Jim, you've been up there. The fact that somebody came by within an hour, you got lucky.
Right.
Because this is like the remote going over a mountain. Ain't nobody up there, dirt road.
Right.
So, John, did you have any water with you?
I did. Yeah, I had a Camelback, and I had a big old Nalgene.
Because you get thirsty real fast when you start dropping motorcycles up there.
Oh yeah, yeah. Trying to lift them up, and I was done.
So you told me that story.
I was deflated. Yeah.
And I thought, you know what, he needs to have some basic skills, dirt skills. So I offered to take him out in the dirt, and we borrowed Jim's TTR 125. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah,
and I took my my CRF 250, and we headed out to go to Hollister Hills, where we always go dirt biking. And we got there, and it was full. Not just full. The rangers are saying, full up, come back in a few hours. See ya. I think, too, that they have restricted parking. I think they're trying to avoid congestion there. So it's, I mean, it wasn't as full as I've seen it, but to them it was full.
So it's social distancing. They were doing social distancing guidelines in the parking lot, you would think, or something like that, or
yeah, maybe something. I'm not sure.
They were. I think they probably turned us away because they didn't want too many people in the parking lot too.
yeah,
You know, just kind of hanging out and tailgating.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I figured, well, we're about half hour away from Gloria Road where he crashed. I said, let's head down there. So we took the trailer and bikes down there, and this is down near Pinnacles State Park. It's really beautiful. And we pull over to the side of the road, unload the bikes, and I gave him all the basics: how to lean, how to grip with your knees, loose with your arms, all the things. And we take off riding. At this point, it's mostly flat with slight turns. This is the pasture land.
Yeah, we started from the east. I originally started from the west. So
Yeah.
just throwing
So
that out there.
how did that feel at first as you took off?
At first, I was terrified as hell because I was going back, you know, and you know, just the feeling of slipping. And I've rode street most of the time, but that feeling of slipping and then falling down and then like, you know, my body aching this 2 or 3 days, you know, it was, I got to say it was pretty terrifying, but you know, I trust Liza. And so anyway, I know, bad idea. I did it anyway.
There's your mistake right there.
Yeah. But anyhow, so yeah, we started out, and then I think, yeah, I think Liza held the bike stationary, showed me something, you know, going in the front, you know, sitting up front whenever you're going uphill, and then going in the back when you're going downhill. And yeah, so we started up, and luckily, since it's from the east side, there's a lot more flat areas. And so as we were going up, you know, she would stop, say, try this technique. And so I try it, and I think, now, was it that first run from the east to the west where you taught me how to push through a slide?
Yeah, so that's when I saw the change in you. I said, now, we're started getting on the downhill. I said, I want you to start going and then slam on the rear brake and come to a sliding stop. This is frightening. And he's like, oh, just coast? I'm like, no. Like,
Yeah.
give it gas and then just slam on the brake and see what happens. And he was doing that just over and over and over. And you learn that you can steer while your back wheel is skidding. You can steer through it. Not only that, if you get better at it, you can control where the bike is moving.
Yeah, and this is on the 125.
And that's when I saw the difference in you. When you started, like, I think less like clenching and more like relaxed and having fun, because you realize, oh, this is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Almost like skiing in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got all the way down through all the twisties to the other side to pavement, turn around and come up. And coming back up, I said, now here is where it gets really fun. When you're halfway into the turn, because you're going uphill, give it the goose. And not just give it the goose, you want to pull in the clutch, throttle up, let out the clutch, and get the rear wheel to cut loose and power out of these turns. And it's fun.
It was a blast. I got to tell you, just doing that butt sway, whoop, 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 and then you're steady, and you're like, oh, I wish I had somebody filming that for me. You know, it was really cool.
Yeah, everyone here gets it when you learn that you can like cut it loose and still trust it.
Yeah.
And we went up, and by the time we got up to the other end, he was like, "This is so much fun."
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and he had let out a yell when we went past the turn where he had crashed and then ended up going back.
And, you know, I can attest to that, because when you get the technique, and for me it was at the Honda training course down in Los Angeles, and you struggle against it because you, like me, John, were raised on street riding.
Right.
And dirt riding is so different. and the weight distribution on your bike is so different, but suddenly it clicks, and it really is a Yahoo moment. It's wonderful.
It's like it's intuitive and counterintuitive at the same time, but you just somehow make your brain makes it work. Like it's fun,
Right.
Yeah, I kept having to repeat myself, like lean the bike, the corner would come up and lean the bike, like
smart. Yeah, it's good to have an internal monologue when you do that to a certain degree, and after a while, it just comes naturally,
Yeah.
Yeah, for anyone who hasn't ridden dirt and hasn't been interested in it, just know I only do it to become a better street rider. You have to go against all of your instincts and training and street riding, because everything is the opposite. Like just the fact that if you're getting into trouble, things are getting squirrely, you give it the gas. You go. You got to go. That goes against instincts. So you have to retrain yourself. Once you've done that, you have a whole new set of tools that you can use on the street, especially when you don't have good traction.
Mm-hmm.
So, John,
Yeah.
are you converted? Are you stoked about going back to that road?
Okay, so Michael McCarthy and I, we're going to go down there. And then I was thinking, you know what? I got on the 250.
Mm-hmm.
And then did we finish the story about the trip back?
No, I didn't. I left out the part where you got lost.
Lost, yeah. I just put air quotes for the podcast people.
How do you get lost on Gloria Road? It's one road.
No,
I'll just
I
tell
got
you.
lost in balance.
So
I was feeling confident. Yeah, I was feeling confident, and then I was like, she's like, yeah, go ahead, and then I'll meet you at the bottom.
So we went back, and because the Jeep was on the east side of the mountain, and I wanted to leave to the west, I loaded up the TTR, let him ride the CRF, and I was driving out on the Jeep. And I said, you know what? You go ahead. You can even go all the way down to the bottom and then back up and then back down again. And that's probably about when I'll come along because I have to go really slow. So go ahead. And then, John, what happened?
Okay, so I'm going up there and I'm like, ooh, I got this. This is awesome. Oh, yeah, I can totally do this now. And then, I'm slowing down and then I see this curve and then, this sharp turn. And I'm like, you know what? Okay, give it the beans or, go for it. And then I went for it and then it slid out underneath me. And then it of course, also fell in the wrong place and on the wrong side for me to pick it up. So anyway, so I'm sitting out there for a while waiting for Liza to come back. So I took another dive. But it was Liza's bike, and the last thing she said, "Don't hurt my baby." And I'm like, "Oh God, Liza's gonna kill me." So I didn't want to move it around, and then keep scratching stuff. So I just kind of I started moving, parts of the bike, and then I was like, I think it might end up scratching it or looking at stuff down here. But eventually Liza comes along and then helped me. Well, actually, at first she was like, "All right, you're gonna lift it from here. Go for it." Okay, pull the front wheel. Just sitting in the driver's seat. All right, here you go.
Just drag it out of there. It was a half in a ditch. So the problem is, and here's the lesson that he learned. It was an off-camber turn. So when he blipped the throttle, he slid off-camber off the road into a little ditch. That's what happened. You got to be on level or cambered, which let's see, how do you describe cambered? So cambered meaning that the lean angle is going with you into the turn, not against you.
Gotcha. Just like highways are already like that. They're kind of like a track.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Where
Exactly.
it kind of leans up and it's diagonal. But to answer your question, am I converted? And I was going to say, Michael McCarthy and I were planning on going down to Gloria Road, but last minute, Liza and I went. And then I just talked to him right now. I'm like, dude, I've fell like twice within the last week, man. You want to do something mellow? He's down. So we're going to do some pavement twisties and stuff like that. But we might go a little bit off the dirt. But it's definitely one of those things where I want to keep practicing that and keep getting that feel, but I've also learned from my first experience to have somebody there, just not, especially if I'm learning a new skill when it comes to riding, if I can have a buddy there to help me pick it up or to show me what I'm doing wrong. I'm gonna do that. You know, if I have the possibility, and I know a lot of people, so I might as well. You know.
Yeah.
So
I have to
after
take all myself.
after I helped him get back on the bike, and then I said, "Go ahead." And I said, "In fact, we're going into this next town. I'm going to go get tacos. Why don't you meet me there?" Right.
That one.
So
Yes,
and I get to the taqueria and he's not there. I'm like, well, that's weird. So I realized he took it on the wrong turn. So John, I want to ask you, what was scarier, crashing in that dirt, or realizing you are now on the freeway on ramp on a 250 dirt bike with aired down tires? Which was scarier?
Well, I don't know, man. I'm a fan of the garage, and I gotta say, the wrath of Liza on her new bike is more scarier than death. So I'm gonna go the former. But no, it was a little sketch, you know, because when the tires are deflated, and especially just knobbies anyway, they make that sound. And then I'm going on the freeway, and I'm like gunning it. I'm like, oh shit, they're at like 18. I really need to slow down. And so. Yeah, so the freeway was scary, so I just ended up slowing down. But yeah, definitely not as scary. The I guess it would be the third time that I've been on that road. Yeah, the freeway was scarier.
Well, John, I want to say good job. I'm glad that you came out there and you listened, and that was the most important thing. You listened, you take instruction, and then you applied it, and I hope that turned it around. The next thing is to try and apply that on your big bike, on your Wii-Strom, and see if you can apply that there. As I told you, Knock has done that road with me, and we were on our street bikes. In fact, he was on his sport bike and riding that.
Yeah.
So it is possible to transfer that skill to a street bike.
Yeah, it just happens slower on a bigger, heavier bike, and your traction levels are greatly compromised.
Yeah, see, that's why I was like, let's do something else, Michael, because I mean, if that's compromised, and I went from the TTR to the 250, and then to go from a 250 to my Wii-Strom, I don't know, I don't want to push that yet, and that's the lesson I learned. Yeah. So
yeah, congratulations on that. Yeah. Hey guys, I want to take a second and I want to give away something free.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yay! Don't say we never give you free shit.
That's right. So this is the final stunt cycle we're giving away. Woo! I'm keeping 2 for myself, one that we burnt to a crisp and one that's going to stay in the box.
Best toy ever.
We gave away 6 of these guys. So nice. For those who've been following, we've been asking a trivia question, Evel Knievel trivia question each week, and people submit the answers to us, and we pick a winner from that and send them an Evel Knievel stunt cycle toy to play with. So we had a question. I tried to make this one harder. Man, people are so good at this now. So the question this week was, Debbie Lawler, also known as the female Evel Knievel, broke Evel's indoor jump record in 1974 when she jumped, I think it was 16 cars.
16 cars.
And Evel Knievel was interviewed on Wide World of Sports as to what he thought about her breaking his record. So the question we posted was, what was his reply to that interview? And the answer was, Emma?
The answer was, I can spit further than she can jump.
What a douche.
Really?
Classic.
Yeah, he's like,
Oh my
God. I can spit farther than that.
He's such a douche.
He was.
Yeah.
He wants to broke every bone in his body.
Oh, so we had,
who's the winner?
we haven't drawn yet.
Oh.
We had 18 entries this time.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
And once again, instead of numbering them, I've assigned a fruits. And let's go with John Dalton. John, you're going to pick tonight's winner.
Okay.
All I need you to do is pick a fruit. I've got 18 fruits written down here.
Watermelon.
Well, there's watermelon here. Watermelon. Our winner is Samuel Broman.
Yay, bro!
Yeah.
Samuel,
Sam.
right on, man.
Right on, bro.
Nice.
Make a film with him.
Yeah,
Light
I
his ass
know.
on fire.
I know.
Very cool. Well done, Samuel. And where is he?
I don't know.
Oh.
I just wrote his name down.
Well, how are you
okay,
going to get his
very
stunt
good.
cycle? Oh, okay.
So congratulations, Samuel. So, hey,
that's
that
cool.
is our last stunt cycle. It's, I recommend if you don't have one and you want one, go to, I think it's, cacreations.com. You can get it. Also, I think, isn't it evilknieveltoys.com?
Yeah, I think if you just do a Google search on the Evel Knievel stunt cycle toy, the California Creations website will come up.
Yeah, cacreations.com. Get one. They are fun. They are way fun.
How many do we give away?
6.
Dude, that's righteous.
Yep.
Best podcast
exactly.
ever.
That's what my well-spent Patreon money. So thank you to our Patreon subscribers for giving me the money to buy all these.
You see, we are the modern day Robin Hoods. See, we get Patreon money,
yeah,
and we spend it on distributing gifts to the needy.
I always thought Knock was more like Tupac.
Get him up.
He loves his mom.
And I wanted to give another thanks to all of the listeners who responded to my request last week. I said that I was in the market to buy a KZ400, and I had a bunch of people sending me links from all over. Some of them were like good running bikes, but they had been modified, like maybe they had the fenders cut down, kind of cafe'd. Some others were cool, but they were the kind of the sport style with a sport rear cowl. That wasn't the one I had. I was trying to find the one, but I did find the one thanks to a listener who sent it to me, and I bought it. It's in Georgia.
Nice.
It's a 1975 KZ400. Hasn't run in a while, but everything's there. The engine turns, and it's all everything's there. It's pretty much stock, except it comes with a sissy bar and one of those 2-tier seats from the 70s. I don't know.
Keep the seat. Keep the seat. That thing is awesome.
No, I want to go
It's
flat
like a sex pillow thing.
Well, I know you can get the OEM cover for it quite inexpensively, probably $25, and you're going to get a knockoff OEM cover, and then we can just cut down the foam to suit.
Oh, cut down the phone?
Okay.
I guess I could, yeah.
Yeah, that's the easiest way.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. So, and I happen to the owner of the bike. Here's where everything just kind of aligned, right? Really nice guy, and I said, "Hey, I'm interested in buying it, but I'm in California and I got to get it out here." And he says, "Well, hey, I got a shipper. Why don't you call him?" So it turns out that the guy I'm buying the bike from is having a bike delivered to him right now, and then that shipper is turning around and going to California.
Hey.
So
Perfect.
he quoted me $600, which
Not bad.
is about a 400 less. Every other quote I was getting was 8 to 1,000.
Yeah.
So this guy's like, "Yeah, I'll just throw it on there. Not a big deal." So I figured it all kind of aligned, you know?
Yeah, it sounds like
what color is it?
Providence. You were meant to have it.
Yeah, it's green, but and Knock, I want to get your help on this. I want to make it the recycle special. I'd like to maybe paint the bike, or at least get some sort of badge or logo, like the recycle thing on it, because as I said last week, you can trace the origins of the Recycle Garage to that KZ400 that I had when somebody helped me and taught me how to fix it up and keep it running. And that meant so much to me, and it enabled me when I was broke and poor to have transportation. So that's part of why I started the Recycle Garage. So anyway, that's coming. That should be here in a couple of weeks. I'm excited.
Well, you
Funny how
should
that works
be.
out, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I know. So, I have a question. This is something I was talking with Emma as we were shooting the shit today, and I just wanted to post this out to you guys, see if you know. So the Africa Twin, it is the largest bike I've ever encountered. And when I have to move that thing in and out of the garage where I have to push it, I now become aware when people are intimidated by big bikes, right?
Mhm.
It is a big bike. And I actually asked Emma, I said, is it the is it the biggest production bike that you've ever seen? Because it's the tallest one I've ever seen. I mean,
it's
probably
getting
not the
there. I mean,
heaviest.
well, that's the whole thing. I mean, the obvious one that you descend to is the Boss Hoss, which has got
Right.
the small block
Yeah.
Chevy in it.
big engine, but
But it's a big engine.
Lower to the ground.
But they're lower to the ground. The Africa
Right.
Twin is very, very tall. It's very, very wide. And Honda quite deliberately made it just an inch here and an inch there bigger than a Super 10, which is its closest competitor.
And I want to qualify because mine is the Adventure Sport. So it is taller suspension, taller seat, taller risers, and wider tank than Jim's Africa Twin. So we are talking about the Africa Twin Adventure Sport here. Because actually the standard looks a lot smaller.
Right.
Yeah. It rides different. It feels like it rides differently too.
It probably is.
Go
I
back
mean,
and
on
forth.
mine, I had the standard. And I put 2-inch bar risers on it. You know, the Corbin seat.
Mhm.
So I definitely made mine a little bit taller. So yeah, I
I
think
mean,
your
they
stock
are-
is taller.
But we were talking about these physically big bikes, and you know, they were contenders. I mean, obviously, so we've talked about the Super Tenere, which is a giant frigging thing, and the Africa Twin. If you go back into classic bikes, the Munch Mammoth,
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
huge thing.
Mammut.
The Mammut by Friedel. Munch.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
right. That sounds
And that
good.
had a 1200cc car engine in it. It had an NSU engine.
Yeah.
Very physically large bike, and deliberately so. But if you go back even further to the 1920s and 30s, to Eastern Europe, they had the Bommerland. And the Bommerland, they built a couple of them that seated 3. You could actually seat 3 people. These were huge bikes. Very, very long bikes.
I have a model of the Munch here in the room somewhere.
Well, that's quite a
recognize
sporty looking Munch. That's a newer Munch.
Okay.
You need to look at the old one. Do like
Yeah.
a 19...
Wait, how do you spell it?
There you go.
Yeah.
Yes, it's let me think.
It's
I can't remember what-
MUNCH, like Munch. And
Yeah,
then,
MUNCH.
Mammoth,
UT.
MAMMUT.
Okay.
Yep. And the other one is B-O with the umlaut, HMERLAND.
Dude, the Boomerland looks like a bike Ronald McDonald would ride. It's yellow and red, and it's long, and it looks like it shoots
Holy
french fries
crap.
out of its ass.
Now, I will actually add, it looks like it should be riding around Willy Wonka's chocolate factory with like a gazillion Oompa Loompas on it.
It's the fucking wheels that do it, man. Like, it's wild as shit.
Now, that is a
Very kitty,
huge...
kitty.
Can you
Yeah.
hold that to the camera?
Yeah, what are you looking at?
Me?
The Bomberland.
Yeah.
Oh, it's I'm just like calling it up on Google image search.
What's
So.
it?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
What's it called?
The Bomberland.
BOHMERLAND.
Ah,
I'm looking at the 37 350 right now, and it looks exactly like Emma described.
You expect it to
My
be
God.
riding...
Oh,
You expect it to
yeah.
be riding down a river of
What the-
chocolate.
here we go. I'll hold it up for the
It looks like it's definitely powered by diabetes for sure.
diabetes.
It's-
Yeah, there
There
you
we
Ronald
go. That's
McDonald.
it for the
Wow.
for the YouTubers.
Yeah.
My
Wow.
goodness, yeah.
So I actually got some figures to share because I was wondering, is it the biggest thing? So let's compare it to a couple of bikes, right? The similar bikes, the Triumph Tiger. And when I give these numbers, I went with the higher numbers posted, assuming that for an adventure type bike, or if they have a different version. So the Triumph Tiger came in with a seat height of 33.7 and 570 pounds.
But wait, which Tiger? The
The
800?
Triumph Tiger, no, the 1200.
Oh, the 12. Okay, yeah.
Next up was the Super Tenere
Right.
with a seat height of 34.3
Oh, that's getting up there,
and
isn't it?
575 pounds.
Right.
That's bigger than Andre the Giant.
And then
Yeah.
and then you have
That's
the
big.
Yeah.
GS 1200, a seat height of 35.8 and 580 pounds.
Ace.
That's big.
But you know, those GSs, they carry their weight so low.
They do.
This is how the Jocelyn Snows of this world can ride such a huge bike, aside from mad skills.
And that was
It's the way they carry their weight.
that was the GSA.
Right.
So the Africa Twin comes in. So that was the GSA was 35.8 and 580. The Africa Twin Adventure comes in at 36.2 for the seat height.
Wow.
Right.
555 pounds.
Okay.
So that is 25 pounds lighter than the GSA.
Yeah, but it carries its weight higher.
Yeah.
And John, that is what caught you out, because your DL650 carries its weight quite a bit higher. And you're used to tooling around on a BMW, which carries its weight very low. And we talked about this briefly. And I think that's really what caused you to come a cropper.
Oh yeah, I'm used to
It's
flicking
that-
and throttling, and it's fine. You know, It's just-
Yeah.
yeah.
And you've got all that high weight, especially if you've got a couple of gallons in the tank slopping around.
Yeah.
And it dragged you down. It dragged you down. And it's not a bad thing, but it's going to be a new technique for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you went from a pendulum to a reverse pendulum, you know, all
Right.
the way to the top.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So yeah, I would like to know if anyone else knows of a bike that is just bigger in stature, not just heavier, not just wider, but overall big, and it feels heavy, but not when I'm riding. Once I'm riding, feels great. I mean, I can take that Africa Twin out on that same road we did, and I can cut the rear wheel loose and slide it around. I feel totally comfortable. It feels like a dirt bike.
Yeah.
It's tall,
Well,
but not
the
as
other
heavy.
thing, the other thing that comes into being heavy, because I think a lot of the modern bikes, and Emma knows better than anybody, once you get them up and going, they ride fairly well. But the other thing is, John realized every now and then you got to pick the damn thing up. So I'm telling you, even the Honda CR, the CRFL, that bike is not a light bike. It's 300 and something pounds, but it's still a bitch to pick up. So that's the other part of big bikes is they're great when they're up, but then you got to figure out how to pick them up.
No, I stand to be corrected on this. And I'm never sure whether it was fact or it was just hearsay we used to talk about as young bikers in England. But I was always led to believe that in Japan, when you took your motorcycle test, you took it on the bike you intended to ride. And part of the test was to actually pick your own bike up.
Whoa.
And I do stand to be corrected on that, because that might just be one of those legend things. But I'm sure amongst all our listeners, somebody knows the answer to this. Or that may be the case in
I wonder if that's how it was in the beginning when they have a lot of lower, lighter bikes. Because I don't know. I remember in the Philippines there was a lot, like there's the 125s and just really small bikes, and those are they're heavy, but you can pick them up.
Has anybody heard of the shame light on Japanese domestic bikes? Oh, it's
Shame light?
That sounds like
is-
a naughty place.
This is a great story. So back in the 70s, so we're not going back that far.
Ooh, mini hole. Sorry, go ahead.
The only crash helmets you could wear in Japan were white. And on every single bike sold, there was a big red light on the dashboard right above the neutral light. And if you went above 55 miles an hour, the light would illuminate. And it would illuminate red on the front of your white helmet.
Whoa.
So anyone could see you were speeding. And it was called the shame light.
The Japanese are awesome at public shaming, apparently.
Well, knowing the culture as well as I do, having done all this factory training, there is no more effective tool, because public shaming is so awful to a traditional Japanese person.
Yeah, that wouldn't work here. You'd get red light clubs and
Well,
you know,
I vividly
red light for
remember.
life.
I vividly remember our local pub installed a breathalyzer, and the idea being so on Friday night you've had a couple of beers and you go over to the breathalyzer and breathe in it and get your reading and make sure
Right.
you were okay to ride home. But what
Sure.
actually happened is it became a competition to get the highest score.
Oh no!
Yes.
And so you'd have people carried over to the
Oh,
breathalyzer,
boy.
just it's like, my God,
Barfing into it.
they should be dead.
This was before COVID, apparently.
Well,
Right.
no, apparently so. And then the people who got the highest readings would be like a scorecard on top. So you'd
They
be
get a Polaroid
immortalized.
on the
Plaque
wall.
up on the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
There's something to be said. There's something to be said about being a baseline standard for something, you know.
Yes, exactly. But I think that speaks volumes about the difference between British biker culture and Japanese biker culture. But no, that's a true story. The shame light, and the only remnants of it you get now is if any of you are lucky enough either to own or to see an original Z1. When you look at the dashboard of a Z1, you've got the big speedo and the big tacho, and then in between it, you've got the idiot lights, and there's the oil pressure light, and the turn signals, and the high beam, and the neutral. And then this mysterious oval hole, which does nothing. It's just a hole. You can stick your finger in it.
Emma,
That is for the shame light.
Emma, I
Wow.
hate to break it to you. You may not realize, but do you know that you have a shame light?
Do I?
Yeah, you do. Every time you drink too much gin, your nose glows red.
Oh yes, that's it. I call that the Rudolph effect.
It's more like the shameless light.
The same thing happens with Knock. It's anytime he says anything. Hey, I have an announcement to make. So I'm doing a thing next week, and it's kind of cool.
Tell
Hey,
us
I want
what
you
your
guys-
thing
I
like.
want you guys to check this out if you can on your phone or computer. Go to this website. It's Rev with two V's, REVV, revtalks.com. REVVEALKS.com. So this is a really cool thing that's happening, especially now with,
Oh.
we can't go to events. There's so many things that you can't do for motorcycle culture and community. And so this is something that Alyssa Klickinger and Brittany Morrow, have come up with. And they're getting people together to do these talks, these presentations, kind of like when you go to an event or a rally, how you'll have people speaking. And look at who the first person is. It's Aaron Sills.
Nice.
So their about section says Rider Education Virtual Vault, which is Rev, is a platform that aims to educate riders through live webinars, conferences, and an extensive video library.
Exactly. So the way it's working, you pay to register. I think it starts at $20. There's it's $20 to $55. You can pay to get copies of the video and have access to all the backlog of all the Rev Talks that they add, stuff like that. So there's different tiers you can do. And they're doing this next weekend. It's June 5th and 6th. And if you scroll down, there's a lot of really cool stuff.
You know what I liked about there's a lot of safety related things. You know, the one about being seen, how to lead with like leadership fundamentals of a group ride or something like that. Like really useful stuff, I think.
There you are, Miller. It says got a full bio on you.
Oh, what?
Oh, now I know why we're looking at it.
And
the Rev Pros.
also like Friday at 5 is Wendy Crockett, the Iron Butt Rally winner. She's going to be talking about riding long distance. A lot of really cool different things. People sharing their experiences. And there is one next Saturday, June 6th at 3 p.m. Face for Radio, Power Sports Podcaster Roundtable. So it's Wes from Chasing the Horizon, myself, Joanne Dawn, Gear Chick from and Chuck from Wheel Nerds, and then somebody new who I hope we'll be having on our show soon. His name is Andrew, and he has a podcast called Moteller Cycling. He actually goes to like cool like motels and does reviews on them. Kind of like my friend Michelle's chalet, the motor court in Custer, South Dakota that Jim and I are going to go to. Especially a lot of them that are like moto friendly, that kind of stuff. So he travels around and sharing these really cool, fun motel experiences. So check it out. There's a lot of really cool stuff they're going to be doing. And then they're going to continue doing these. So go to Rev Talks, that's Rev with 2 V's, revtalks.com, and check that out. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, to being part of it. It's a new idea. It's a new thing, you know?
I just looked at all the people on there. There's a lot of super cool people, like a lot of people we know. And yeah, what a nice, fun bunch of people to do motorcycle stuff with.
I know, right? So, oh, yeah, I wanted to share another thing. I'm not going to say it's an obsession, but it's definitely becoming a piquing of the interest. So, you know, we're working on our next film festival. It's going to be, it's called the Black Hills Moto Film Festival. It's going to be in August, and this one is going to be online, so everyone's going to be able to see it. And we're starting to take submissions and see new movies. And there's been a couple submitted by a group of guys that I'm kind of obsessed with. I shared it with Emma today.
Oh, God, it was great. It was absolutely fantastic.
It's the perfect storm of somebody who is a professional, like, filmmaker, videographer. You can tell that they probably work for, like, Discovery Channel or something, right? So they know how to do all the stuff. And then you take a weird hobby and mix the two together. And these guys, they collect and ride Rokon motorcycles. Do you guys know what these are?
Oh, yeah. Two-wheel drive motorcycles?
Two-wheel drive. It's like a mini bike.
Not
it's like an ATV.
Yeah, not all Rokons were two-wheel drive. I mean, it was just the Trailbreaker that was two-wheel drive. Oh. But, I mean, it wasn't just the fact that it was two-wheel drive that made them nutty. I mean, they had, like, fuel carried in the wheel hubs and like weird stuff.
Well, and isn't it true that they're made, the wheels holds enough air that it can float so you can cross a river with it without it sinking?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you'd have to drag it across, not ride it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean, these
float it across.
But they only go like, and they have like super low gears. They probably do like what, 25 miles an hour? Like not much, right?
About that.
So there were 2 films submitted. One of them is it's a group of guys who all get together in the Northeast and ride. They had like 50 of these guys tooling around in the snow and the woods on it. It was so cool. Then they had another one that was submitted, and this one was about, I'm trying to find the link real quick. It's about a guy who crossed, I think, South America on one. It's called Captain Webb's Epic Adventure. And I think this guy, he did like some epic trip on it. It's amazing what people can do on these Rokons. He crossed the Darien Gap.
Oh, wow.
Like going through like jungle with no roads, that kind of stuff.
Man.
And I have to admit, I'm like I said, piquing my interest about, oh my God, these bikes look so crazy.
I'm curious to know how he got the fuel out of the wheels and into the tank.
Oh, that's a good question. That is a good question.
Yeah.
Emma, how do they do that?
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a mystery of some description.
I guess you had to carry a pump.
Well, no, I think maybe there's a little like fuel cock on it, and you kind of put a saucepan under there and
centrifugal spray
and spoon it into the tank. I don't know.
I would assume that there's some sort of hand crank pump on it or something.
Yeah, right.
No, I would expect, because these bikes are made to do amazing things and to get through terrain that nothing else can get through. Um, Emma, have you ever ridden one of these?
Yes. It's absolutely terrifying.
It's like a two-wheeled tractor. I'm assuming, right?
It's strangely addictive. It reminded me a great. Oh, John Dalton's got a dog.
Yes, this is Demi.
Hey.
She's a sweetie pie.
Demi's not a boy's name.
She is. No, I said she.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's a sweetie pie.
Oh, she's a sweetie pie.
Right.
What a
All
good
right.
girl.
So easy.
So
to
anyway,
track.
it reminded me a great deal of a TW200,
Yeah.
a T-Dub.
Oh yeah.
Because it's got that hesitation in steering. It's got no power, lots of noise,
Lots of bounce.
lots of bounce. The one I rode was a one-wheel drive version, but it was strangely addictive. Interesting bike.
Hey guys,
Very interesting bike.
I've got an idea. Tell me if it's a good bad idea or a bad good idea. What if we get one of these and give it to Owen?
Owen's gonna have to earn it.
Maybe this is the
He's gonna
perfect
work
bike
around
for
the garage.
Owen. He wants a death trap.
And how many cc's are those usually?
I think it's got an old Rotax two-stroke engine in it, so I think they're 250.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think I might be onto something here.
Uh-huh.
Rokon Trail Breaker. Oh my God.
Do they allow those in Hollister?
I just think Liza wants to buy one and wants an excuse. You're gonna
Well,
bring it on the field.
yeah,
You just
yeah.
want one.
And,
I know
and
you do.
and I get to ride it, Owen.
There it is.
Unfortunately, I mean they are quite culty and expensive now.
Yeah.
So
Oh, okay.
no, I think we're going to put Owen on something a little bit more conventional. Read cheaper.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
but
Chariot.
if Mid Ohio happens this year, you might be able to find one there.
There's always one or two.
Ooh.
Yep.
So we had a couple of the guys come by the garage on new bikes that they had bought today. Jim, you didn't get to see these. It was pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
So here's the thing. Two guys, they bought two old dirt bikes. I think they were all from the same guy. The first one cost $250. What kind of bike
Nice.
was it? Was it like an XL 250, I think? Honda XL?
No.
What was it?
It was a Honda SL
That's right, SL.
125, and it was from 1970, I believe.
There you
Whoa.
go. And then the second one.
Was a Kawasaki
Mhm.
KE 175, a lot younger, from 1980, but still a two-stroke.
A two-stroke. The interesting thing, so the SL he paid $250 for, but then had to spend $500 to get it running. The other kid spent $500, and it was pretty much running.
Yeah, they came by for muffler, right?
Yeah, he's trying to get a little bit better. I gave him an old exhaust pipe we had here to put on there. That's working. But he came by to see if we had anything else. And I had a dirt bike fender I gave him because he was missing a front fender.
Well, hang on a second. These are two-stroke dirt bikes, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, the Honda's a
The-
four-stroke.
Okay.
Kawasaki.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the Honda's
It's
a
just Kawasaki.
four-stroke.
Gotcha.
And it's not, the SL wasn't really a dirt bike. It had sort of dirt bike pretensions. But it was more, it wasn't even really a trail bike.
It's got a 21-inch front wheel.
Yeah, but it was kind of styled. Honda always had their XL, which was the dirt bike. And then they had the SL, which was kind of like a street scrambler. It was more of a style than an actual effective dirt bike.
Oh, really? So it was just, did it swipe out a lot? Did it wreck a lot? Or what was wrong with the design? Because those looked pretty decent. Like the travel looked pretty good.
No, I mean, it was just designed for a specific market. Honda have always made a point of making a bike for everyone. And the SL series, the suspension was a bit more compliant for the street, and the styling was a bit more street oriented. Just, a nice, good all round bike. Similar in thinking to, an adventure bike makes for a great street bike.
Mm-hmm.
And Honda's way of thinking was a dirt styled bike makes for a great street bike. And so the XL series were the trail bikes. Those were the ones you could really ride off road. If you rode mostly on the street, an occasional dirt road, the SL series was perfect for you.
But just an example of the kind of money that I think, the kind of bike that Owen might be able to find, a couple $100. Perfect kind of project bike. Bring it to the garage. We'll help you fix it up. But I will tell you, getting something vintage like that, there's no way I would take it on the kind of rides that Jim has been doing lately.
Ooh.
Jim, you've had some more adventures.
Yeah, some more adventure riding on the adventure bikes.
Where have you been?
I've been a couple of places. So last week I went up to the Sierra Nevada mountains, about 4.5, maybe 5 hours east of Santa Cruz. And it was really a lot of fun. So, so went up there. It's near, if anyone knows where Bear Valley is, it was a ways past Bear Valley. And it was funny, me and a friend were going to a place where Mike and I went last year, whenever that was, in the fall, a place called Utica Reservoir. And it was just beautiful. So I was going to go up there. My friend doesn't ride, but I brought the bike anyway. And we got up there and it was closed. We're like, oh, shit. And because this is pretty far up there. And I knew all the developed sites were closed. All the developed camping was. But I didn't think these forest roads that you could go down and camp would be closed. So they had full-on barriers and everything. So we're like, shit. So we keep going. And we had some light left. But we kept going. And next we're up about, well over 7,000 feet. And we're like, shit, there's like nothing. It's just these curvy mountain roads and trees. Absolutely beautiful, though. And then at one point we saw a little turn off into the woods, and we kind of eyeballed it real quick. We're like, fuck, let's go for it. Pulled in, and basically it was a little turnaround just in the forest. And people had camped there before, which was cool, right? You don't want to go somewhere people hadn't already camped. And it just turned out to be beautiful. So it just goes to show, like, when your plans don't work out, sometimes that's when the best adventures happen. Mm-hmm. I know motorcycling certainly prepares you for that because things almost never work out as planned. But it was one of those adventures. So where we ended up camping was right next to this big old river that was raging, and we kind of timed it right. It was the end of the snow was still melting, so it wasn't super hot, wasn't super cold. And on the other side, we scrambled up above the campsite, and we had a view probably 800 to 1,000 feet down to the valley floor. And you can see down this valley towards Ebbs Pass, I don't know, probably 20 miles. Just absolutely stunning. So yeah, if anyone ever has a chance to get up anywhere in the mountains in California, it's great.
So how was the riding?
It was a hoot. It was, I didn't really know, I know we'd done the fire roads up there before, so I was expecting that. But the variety of terrain and riding was crazy. Because we were so high up, there was still a bunch of snow, which is the trip when you're thinking it's almost June. And there were some drifts that were 4 feet tall, no kidding. But it was a lot of fun because it was everything from, a dirt road to a muddy road to a bog, like these high alpine lakes and boggy areas. And you're like, oh shit, because you don't know what's going to happen, right? How deep you're going to sink. To sand, I had one stretch where, no kidding, like in 100 yards. And I basically, through all of it, you just pin it and keep your eyes up. That's pretty much dirt biking to me anyway. And but it was dirt to mud, out of the mud through a bog, across snow, then through pine cone, like 50 feet of just straight up pine cones. It was freaking crazy. Then sand and then back out onto the road. I'm like, this was wild. But I mentioned to Liza earlier, it was kind of one of the things I always really wanted to do when I got into motorcycling, was go somewhere where you can just go off the side of the road and have these beautiful, epic adventures. And that part of the Sierra, and I know a lot of parts of the Sierras allow for that. So you would just find some fire roads, bip off, but instead of a fire road, it would turn into like this big alpine meadow and then single track. I was riding through dense stands of forest, like of these, I don't know if they're pine or whatever they are, where it's nothing but pine cones below you, but you're going like first gear, super slow, weaving through the trees. Yeah.
You know what bike would have been perfect for that?
What bike?
Procon.
The Rokon would have been awesome. I'll tell you, riding on pine cones is the weirdest thing in the world, but it was fun. And
I should imagine it's quite crunchy.
It's very crunchy. Yeah, extremely crunchy. It was a trip. So yeah, it was also been. So you go back into these little alpine valleys and hollow, but I would never go too far because next thing you know, it's like I don't want to roll up on some fucking bear or whatever. And don't tell me it can't happen. That shit happens.
Oh yeah, nature's out there.
Yeah, and also I did have a friend with me that didn't ride, and I didn't want to get have something happen back in the woods, like whatever, have a mechanical issue, and be back 3 hours later than I was supposed to be. When you're by yourself, it's not such a big deal.
Wait, were you two up?
No. My friend was back. She doesn't ride. She was back at the campsite.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I just bounced. Yeah, I just bounced by myself, and it was super beautiful. Yeah.
But I mean, this is the best thing about California. I mean, the Sierras are 2 or 3 hours away from us, and it is the wilderness. It is absolutely the wilderness. Yeah. And you don't have to go back that many generations. And you do a Google search on the Donner Party, and it's like, oh, my God. Yeah. And it wasn't that long ago. Yeah. And all this is basically your back garden. It's wonderful.
I think Buster Hyman has a question. Buster Hyman?
So, and I just wanted to add, because in general, it's not a good idea to go off exploring by yourself because anything can happen. So I did want to say that Jim had his Indeed, his tracker, and he was sending me kind of little reports to know where he was and that he was fine.
Yeah. It worked really well. So I got for Christmas, I gave myself helicopter insurance and a Garmin Inreach Mini.
Oh, that's what it is. Inreach, yeah.
Yeah, I keep getting pleasantly surprised by it. I was expecting to be disappointed because a couple of things I got from Garmin just sucked. But this is, basically I call it my I'm screwed button, right? It's a little orange thing that has your GPS. You can push a button and it'll send help. But it has all these other neat features. The one that Liza was mentioning are texting features. So I can set preset texts. And this kind of curious text, because I think I can do 12 preset texts. Like, what should they be? But in general, it's like, hey, I'm leaving now, or I'll be home, or I'm late, or it's like I could be, I broke my leg, or I'm, blah, blah, blah.
I guess something like this. It's a map with a pin, and it says all good.
Nice.
So with about 3 clicks, I can send her a text message, and it goes off the the Iridium satellite network. So those are like 66 low orbit satellites that are just zipping around, right? So that's how it communicates. So you do need you need to be able to see a little bit of sky, and it takes a little while, right? So to send a text, it can take 5 minutes, but it does send. And what Liza's talking about, with a couple of clicks, I can send her a preset text. It sends my GPS coordinates, and also it sends you a Google map with whichever view of my location. And in my house, it's accurate to 15 feet.
Yes, I know this because you sent me one pinned to your house and with a message, pooping.
That's like a 15-foot radius of pooping. You know exactly nowhere.
It's like when the dog walks around in a circle.
You just be extremely thankful, Liza, your phone is not equipped with smell-o-vision.
It's called Indeed? Is that right?
Okay. No, it's the Garmin Inreach Mini.
Yeah, Inreach.
Okay.
What you got now?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Good.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to add too. The Sierras up there. I mean, if you're not going off road, the roads themselves up there are amazing because they get closed for bad weather, and so these roads are kind of like racetracks almost. They're just perfect. There's hardly any heavy traffic that goes through them, and you're just riding around in really beautiful nature.
Yeah, but dudes, guess what? We can brag about how great all these roads are up in the Sierras and all this stuff.
Ooh, I feel a segue coming.
But
sorry, go ahead.
Jim has been discovering what awaits us in South Dakota when we're going to the Black Hills. Jim, tell them about what you've been finding there for off-road riding.
Yeah, I kind of blew my mind yesterday. So last night I got back from wherever I was riding, and I'm looking at the the South Dakota stuff, because a lot of stuff I'm doing now is to prepare for South Dakota. Because I think if we think it's remote here, I think it's pretty fucking remote in South Dakota.
Oh, yeah.
As an example, when I looked at the Black Hills area, National Forest, I think it is, and they have OHV areas. I think they said they have 3,600 miles of OHV.
Oh shit!
1,000
Yeah.
miles.
Square miles.
I was like, holy moly. So I was jazzed. So a lot of this stuff, like today I was on a ride again out in the woods, and I was texting Liza again just to practice using like the Inreach and that kind of stuff. Oh, before I forget, the other really cool thing that I learned about the Inreach Mini this weekend is we were there on Friday, and we had glanced at the weather the day before, like, oh, it might rain Saturday, whatever. And it was beautiful Thursday and Friday. We were having a blast. But I tell you, almost every time I go up in the Sierras, it's in the shoulders. It's either spring or fall. Literally almost every time I almost get screwed by the precipitation, either snow or rain or whatever when you're totally not expecting it. So we get up Saturday morning expecting like another awesome day. I'm going to go riding, swim in the river, whatever. But the weather changed. And you know, if you're in the Sierras, all of a sudden it's overcast, the weather got cool. We're like, oh shit. But we were so far, there was like no chance of cell service at all. There was no town anywhere nearby. And we're like, shit, we're not going to get stuck up in here because we've all kind of done that. So I'm like, I think the Inreach has a weather function. So it does. I click on it. It also syncs with my phone. So I'm looking at my phone Bluetooth, and I'm trying to get a satellite of the weather thing. And it goes like for 5, 10, 15 minutes and just nothing. I'm like, fuck, it didn't work. And then 20 minutes later, pow, I got a weather report that was accurate every 3 hours. So that was worth its weight in gold. So otherwise, we probably would have packed up and left. But just knowing that you have satellite access to real-time weather, that was a really cool feature too. So I wanted to mention that. But South Dakota is going to be awesome. I just don't really, I don't know what to expect.
Not to do too much product endorsement, man, but you were saying, I think Liza and I were in the car, so you could just do like a month subscription and then cut it off, right?
It's a month. It's month to month. They have different plans, so you can go month to month. Maybe that's $20 or something. I don't know, but yeah, you can pause it. That if you don't, I just let it roll because I know one time I'll forget, and for $20 a month, you know, because literally when I was in Santa Lucia, a guy went off the edge because everywhere we ride up here, it's either a cliff, it's a cliff on one side, a fucking plummet on the other, or trees, or both. And this guy went off the edge, broke his hip and collarbone. If you're by yourself and you're 30 feet down with a broken hip, you know, you're kind of hosed. But I don't know. You've been out there, Liza. What's Custer like? What's the Black Hills like?
It's like there's buffalo and mountains and shit like that.
They said if you encounter buffalo, don't turn off your motorcycle.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, sounds like we're finding out that there's a lot of good riding to do there, and I'm getting more stoked.
You know, the other thing, just while we're throwing out technology, because I'm exploring this, is there's another app. It's free called Gaia, Gaia, and it's a navigational app, and it's free. And there's a podcast listener who came by turned us on to it, and it works great. Again, it bounces off satellites. It's kind of mixed in the field, I've noticed, but you can save the maps before you go, and they have extremely accurate maps, like different layers, Forest Service maps, National Geographic maps, which are dope. Like, you know those maps you would fold out of the magazine? You can save them on your phone. Like when I was up at Ebbets Pass, the Pacific Coast Trail was there, and it gave all the details of the trails, the fire roads. So that's another free app, GAIA, that's great for navigation.
And I want to be clear, these things we're talking about, like the Inreach, are not for like just for dirt biking or adventure riding. This is for anyone, because we've heard stories of people on street bikes who riding up in the mountains and go over the edge. You know, anytime you are out somewhere where there's no cell service and you may, you know, need help, it's worth getting. So that's for anybody. So yeah, thank you for that report. I've got some emails to get to, and this one is kind of cool because John Hillenbrand, he sent us his own cool tool, and this is something that I don't have, and I agree. There is. So he says, hey, Liza, this is another cool tool of mine, which I think is called a vice grip chain grip. It will
Oh, I know what
securely,
that is.
it will
I've seen
securely
those.
grab objects of any shape that you can wrap the chain around,
Oh yeah.
weld things together, twist them apart, whatever the job requires. It basically looks like, let's see if you can see,
Yeah, I know what those look like.
vice grips, but with a chain
Yeah.
where the jaws would be, that is adjustable.
Nice.
That is a cool tool. I agree. Now I have
Seems like
to
it'd be
get,
good to have two of them. Like if you're doing pipes or stuff like that.
yeah,
Looks
I
like a
mean,
pipe
grab
holder,
Yeah.
right?
anything that's not squared off or anything.
Yeah,
So
that
thank
is
you,
cool.
John. That is a cool tool. All right. So here's another one. And okay, I just want to give a shout out. This is from Phil Loney. And
Hey, Phil.
he's been listening for a few years now. And he was trying to help me find a KZ400.
Is this Phil Lonely?
Loney.
Oh, I
Is-
thought you
is
said
that-
lonely.
Is that Bill Loney's? Is that Bill Loney's brother?
Oh, no.
That's a good one. I like that. That was a
Sorry,
good
I
So-
couldn't resist.
Well done.
So he's on the road with his wife and their fifth wheel toy hauler.
Oh, he's not
Hmm.
lonely at all then.
No. So he used to have a shop in St. Petersburg, Florida, and he just loaded everything up into this fifth wheeler with his TW200.
Nice.
It's a fun
Nice.
toy you can take out everywhere and explore.
Oh, T-dubs are great.
His business is, I think is it Bagel? You're German. DACH. Doc.
Doch.
Doc's Speed Shop and Custom Cycles.
Hmm.
So he does work on bikes when he can, but he also scours the internet for motorcycles and parts to buy. He mostly deals in older bikes, like 85 and older. He's had a lot of CB750 SOHCs and anything from the 70s. He said, go ahead and check out docspeedshop.com. And so he was helping me hunt for a KZ. So I wanted to say thank you, Phil. I did get one, but I appreciate the help. But I definitely want to check out Doc's Speed Shop, DACH. Oh, like Dachshund?
Yep, exactly.
Right.
And Dachshund literally means a roof dog.
Oh, cool.
And
Yeah,
is
he's
der,
like,
der Wiener Schnitzel, is that like a wiener dog?
No, that just means a Viennese cut.
Oh,
Of
but
nice.
he hopes that he's going to be, let's see, he's going to be coming out here, I think, later this summer. He hopes to swing by the garage and hopefully go play in the dirt with our bikes.
Cool.
nice.
Oh,
I just
Emma.
got your
Come on, man.
Viennese joke.
Yes, darling.
did you just sneeze? It scared me.
Yeah, and you know what happened? A bit of pee come out.
A wee pee.
Yeah, a photograph of
Oh,
a bit
no.
of pee come out.
Okay.
No.
I got one more email and I saved the best one for last because this is somebody that needs help. So let's see if
Oh, you
Misfit-
came to the
I know.
wrong place.
And this one is from Michael Leonard. He says, "Dear Misfits,
Michael.
I'm
Hello,
writing
Michael.
to you from Greenville, South Carolina. He was daily riding his 1980 CX500C when he used to live in Massachusetts. It's his first bike, and he was learning the basics of mechanics and riding on her. But he thinks he may have screwed the pooch when he moved down to South Carolina.
Oh
Because
dear.
when going for a ride after moving, I noticed a tick. But since everything was running smoothly otherwise, I kept going and even rode it a few more times trying to figure out what was wrong. I eventually narrowed it down to the top of my right cylinder. After
Okay.
some Googling, I sorted out I needed a valve adjustment and opened up the rocker cover to find my valve adjustment screw had completely vanished.
Oh, bugger.
Ooh.
The lock nut was floating free in the tray, along with another valve adjustment screw and lock nut. Since I've adjusted the valves before, I know it used to be there, and I think it went down what I assume is the oil return passage.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now he's
Yeesh.
screw hunting. Step
Get a
one
magnet.
was
Magnet.
Emma's magnet on a stick down yon hole. Nothing came up. Next, he drained the oil to try and route around the oil pan with a magnet. You then notice that he's got metal shavings in the oil. It's not running on glitter, but still any metal in the oil is generally a bad sign.
Here.
He says, where do I go from here? I'm not scared of digging in, but I'd like to have something of a plan beforehand. My current guess is to check the oil pump, but that's pulling the radiator and clutch, and I don't have room for that since I'm still in the middle of moving and don't have my own place yet. So what advice do we have for Michael? And this, again, is Emma's favorite bike, the Honda Maggot.
Plastic maggot.
Plastic Maggot.
No, I know. They're not bad. They're not bad. There's two ways I'd go about this, actually.
Yeah.
What he didn't specify is how long he's been riding it with...
With the ticking noise?
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. This might sound like an odd thing, but there's a ton of these engines out there.
Uh-oh. This doesn't sound good.
I've got to be honest with you. I'm tempted. If that thing was going to wreak havoc, it would have wreaked havoc already.
Yeah.
I'm kind of tempted to put a lock nut and screw in it, change the oil,
All good.
and then get riding. Because, well, no, let me tell you something about those CX500s. It's got a big crankcase. Now, I wouldn't recommend this on every bike, but it's got a very, very big crankcase. And what that means is that thing fell to the very, very bottom. And there's very little down there for it to encroach. The CX is actually quite a short stroke engine, so it hasn't got a massive crank in it. All the gears are pretty high because they're on the level of the shaft drive and they sit next to one another. I really am kind of tempted just to put new screws and lock nuts in it and make sure you tighten them up this time, Michael.
That helps.
You might want to get the OEM ones too, because I'd imagine they're probably hardened a certain way. They're
Yes,
not
exactly.
Yeah.
Buy the OEM ones.
Yeah.
And get riding.
And maybe like a magnetic drain plug. Maybe you might get lucky and it'll slosh its way onto the plug.
Right.
And that
Or-
happened to my XR2 where I dropped the locating dowel. And I just said, fuck it, and bought a new dowel. And like a month later, I found the old dowel attached to the drain plug.
Yeah, that's a
I got
good idea. Or if you can't get a magnetic drain plug, I was going to suggest if you epoxy a rare earth magnet onto the very bottom of the motor, that will at least hold the parts there so they don't move around.
Right.
And because the last thing you want is those to get get jostled out of place and then fall in between a pair of gears, because I've had that happen before and it's broken. It'll break the gears. It'll shatter them. So that's, a Band-Aid that might help.
And so, Emma, you brought up engines are available because why not just see what happens? Because worst case scenario, if it grenades the engine, just get another engine.
Just get another engine and rebuild it on the bench. As far as I can tell, he's got absolutely nothing to lose. I think really in this case, if it had suddenly happened and he pulled the clutch and put it over by the side of the road, I'd say you need to pull the engine down. But from what his description, he's already been riding it around.
Yeah.
And he might have done a good few miles on it. I don't know, he might have toasted the valve because that valve's been whacked quite a bit.
That's what I was going to ask. Is there any chance that it got out enough that it could hit the top of the piston? Does he need to?
No, it'll do the other way. I mean, I think if it was going to break the valve, it would have done so already. It's a very interesting engine, the CX500. It's got push rods and a cam chain. And rockers. So, there's a bit of everything in there.
And a drive shaft.
Yeah. And they're quite durable engines when you look after them. If you remember, do you remember that Silverwing coming down Misfits that sounded like a complete dog's dinner?
Yeah.
We did the valve clearances and it sounded sweet as a nut. It's odd advice, but he's moving house. He hasn't really got much to work on. I'll tell you another thing for you to try, Michael, is take the drain bolt out, which of course on a CX is on the front of the engine, and get your magnet on a stick and stick it in the drain bolt, and have a fish around in there. That might be worth a try.
Would you say it would be a not bad idea to run a couple quarts of oil in there and then flush it another time to make sure that all the crap gets out?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, exactly. And there's always the chance when you drain the oil that the remains of that tappet screw are going to come out. Really, as bizarre as it sounds, that's going to be my best advice. Is
if you go to the oil fill, and you just put a pressure washer in there, open up the oil drain and the oil fill, stick a pressure washer on there, just blast that out.
Wow!
I'm not sure the bearings would appreciate that.
Ah, wow.
Have you
Those bearings always get in the way.
Have you tried Flex Seal?
Oh, that'd be one. What you could do is you could actually drill a big hole in the bottom of the engine.
There you go.
Your finger up in there. And then,
slime too.
Yeah, and then glue a bit of plastic on the bottom.
And now award-winning Mike has joined us just at the very end of the show. Mike, we just finished the emails. I was about to wrap up, but instead, I'm going to ask a trivia question that I'm telling you in advance is a trick question. I want to see who can answer this question correctly. And remember, this is a trick question, so think outside of the box. Let's use, for example, that SL 125, was it, that was here?
Yep, yeah.
How many cylinders is that? That's a single cylinder, right, Emma?
I'm sorry, what was that?
That SL 125 is a single cylinder bike? Okay,
one cylinder.
Here's a question for all of you. How many on the entire SL 500 bike, how many pistons are there? Bagel, he may know the answer because we learned the answer earlier today. Emma,
I didn't catch that.
Oh, you didn't catch the trick.
No.
Bagel and John and Emma should know. Yes, Knock. How many pistons are on the SL 125?
So we're talking about the engine piston and brake piston too.
Ooh,
yeah, the front and the rear. Are they?
Is that drum?
Drum front and rear.
Yeah, that's a drum bike.
Okay, so engine piston.
How many pistons are on that bike?
I'm going to guess 6.
Okay.
You're just saying numbers. You don't know what the fuck.
Knock, you have a guess?
If it's an older bike, I say just that one piston.
Okay. I'm guessing 5. John, do you have a guess?
I'm thinking outside of the box, so I'm thinking tons of piss, which I don't think there's any of that.
Way out. That's too far outside the box.
Sorry. Oh, yeah. Okay. We'll go with. Okay. So you got 1, 2, 3, 5.
Jim, you have a guess?
I'm just gonna say 3.
Okay. Emma, I think you know what I'm referring to.
And actually, the correct answer is Bagel. However,
okay,
I'm not going to give it to him because he's got to name them.
All right.
Oh, all right, Bagel, go for it.
There is one piston in the engine.
Okay.
Yes.
There is one piston in the master cylinder.
No. Drum brakes.
No.
Yeah,
drum brakes.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Then there's
suspension, right?
There's one piston in.
There's 2 for the suspension.
There's two pistons in the front shocks.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's 2 pistons in the rear shocks.
Yes.
Mhm.
And then number 6.
Yeah, I'm stunned on this one.
Okay, I'll put you out of your misery.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
I'm thinking.
No. Okay. All
There's
right.
got to be something in the engine.
All right, Emma. Where's the 6th piston?
It's actually in the oil pump.
I was
The
thinking that.
There we go.
very
Check
early
valve.
Hondas didn't have a trochoidal oil pump. They actually had a piston on an eccentric, which worked just like a locomotive. You've got to think of an old steam locomotive with an eccentric pushing a piston in and out. And
That is
that's
wild.
worked on these early Hondas. And the
Wow.
SL, very early version of the 125, has got it. They went to a trochoidal oil pump in the later ones, but in the early ones, they actually had a piston, so that's number 6. But here they are. Piston in the cylinder, piston in the oil pump, one piston in the left fork, one piston in the right fork, one piston in the left shock.
And a piss in the airbox. Sorry, I couldn't resist it. Sorry.
I will give you $300 for it. You've clearly got a rodent problem.
Smells like coyote piss.
Yeah. The answer's 7. And
is
Emma
Mike laughing
piston
at
in the
that?
piston in the airbox.
No,
The
you don't
piston
get to laugh. You don't get to laugh at this joke, Michael. You really are on thin ice with the Misfits now. I don't care.
Oh, come now.
What happened?
You're on thin ice, mate. Thin
I
ice.
give you the good room. I gave you the good room in Portland. You owe me.
I know you did. I know you didn't. Thank you. Well, I shared it with you as well. So, no, I forgive you, darling. How did the contract signing go?
It's great. I got the price I wanted.
Oh,
Right on.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Nice, dude.
He's got a new house.
Yeah.
He's getting it fixed up. We're going to go ride our mini bikes in his yard and Christian it. We're happy.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna need some help with figuring out how to set up the garage. It's huge.
Wow.
It's like the entire side of the house.
Oh, you won't have a
Holy
problem.
crap.
Just
That
keep
won't
your
take
credit
long.
card handy.
Trust me.
Yeah, but I'm pretty organized though. I'm meticulous. So I'm gonna at least I can put every one of my bikes lined up and then put spotlights on them, and it'll be a real garage mahal. Like I'll come in and I'm gonna make the entrance to the garage. So when you come in, I'll accidentally flick the spotlights on the bikes as you walk
Like,
the only
like in
light.
the frozen section at the grocery store.
See what you do? You set up
Perfect.
the motion detectors, Mike. So as you walk, the lights turn on themselves. The closer you get to the
Boof,
bike.
boof, boof,
Oh, that's
boof.
sick.
And then the
Do
bikes
it.
are on rotating pedestals that revolve around as you walk by.
Oh, I'm in. I'm
Nice.
fucking all in.
Yeah, you need to have a tributes of bikes past, and like a little pumpkin,
Dude, wait,
memorial
dude,
area.
mural. You need a mural, and you're the
Yeah.
one
I
who
can
made
totally
it.
do that. I can
Yes.
totally do that.
Yes.
Oh, that would be sick.
Of like board
airbrush it.
trackers on a track mid-turn or something like that. That
With
would be
like
so
dust
cool.
and stuff like that. I could do like
Yes.
all types of bike in a collage of the
Yes.
painting on the wall. And it'll be like the Misfits logo in the middle,
Yeah, the
There you go.
Remichael garage.
I'll tell you, if we do the Christmas party at our house, dude, there's so much parking, and then you could pull bikes into my front yard, like it's all patioed,
All in.
and we'll have a Christmas tree, and even if we're social distancing, it's big. It'd be good.
Well, congratulations on
Nice.
that. And before we're about to wrap up, but before we do, since it worked so well last week, my crowdsourcing to find a bike, I'm just going to throw out there, I'm interested. I'm not ready to buy, but interested. I have a crazy idea, and I'm possibly. Hey Freya, I'm possibly looking to buy a 70s or 80s, like a Econoline van. I'm looking for something. Hey, Frey. All right. I'm looking for something with lots of windows, captain chairs, carpeting on the ceiling, hopefully bubble windows, and a couch that folds out into a bed and a trailer hitch. And this is going to be my hauling dirt bikes, camping, picking people up at the airport, Home Depot run, all the things. My extra vehicle. I think it'd be cool to have one of those kind of vans.
Liza, did you get inspired by the Yamaha hauler?
Yes, totally. So yeah, I don't know. That's my latest crazy idea. Summer project is a van. I know.
That sounds good. I'll paint that too.
Oh,
70s
yeah.
Dodge. 70s
Like a
Dodge
unicorn.
Mike, your
Like you-
screaming child is a bit much, just so you know. Thank you. But I think we're ready to wrap. This is the part where I get to say thank you to all of our Patreon subscribers. Thank you all the people emailing in. I hope everyone had fun with the Evil Knievel trivia. I'm gonna have to get some more stuff to give away. It's been fun giving stuff away, hasn't it? Also, still have a few of the t-shirts. So if you want to be a Patreon supporter for $5 a month, you get a free t-shirt sent to you. I have large, extra large, and one double XL. So come on, big boy. You know you want it. I got one left. But these are the new shirts that I designed. They look really cool. Yeah, just not many left. So go to Patreon and search for Motorcycles and Misfits. You'll find it there. I don't think I've put the link on our website yet. I got to do that. But yeah, thanks to everyone, especially thanks to John and Bagel for helping us out this morning with the shoot. I got to get some editing done. And Knock, what you got?
Oh yeah, I don't want to get political, but I just want to say if you're in any of these cities where all the craziness is going down, if you are going to do the protest or whatever, stay safe, guys. Stay safe. I know there are more important things at times other than motorcycles, but be careful, stay safe, and watch yourselves. Okay, so chill.
Yep.
Good point. We actually had a protest here today downtown.
Yeah.
Oh joy! I live next door to the police station. So
Yeah.
we've had 2 days in a row of the protesters coming here, but it is Santa Cruz, so it's just a lot of people making noise and waving banners, but nothing dangerous or anything. But
Yeah, and it was very peaceful. A lot of people came out.
Yeah, they did a moment of silence, and then it was gone. It wasn't. I was like, "Oh shit! Do I have to like guard the garage or what?" You know. But it was mellow. Yeah.
But the mayor of Santa Cruz came out and in solidarity with the protest. And the police chief.
Yeah, I looked out on the crowd. There was like 400 or 500 people. It was a lot. And I thought, now's the time to go to Whole Foods because nobody's there.
God.
Dude, did you know our mayor has a dreadlock mohawk?
Does he really?
Did you know that?
Awesome. No.
No.
But I did see that our chief of police was at the protest last night on his knee with everyone else.
Yeah, you probably didn't recognize the mayor right next to him.
Yeah.
It was him.
Nice. So big thanks to everyone. I think we're ready to wrap. We've got another session down. What do you guys think? Do you like these Zoom episodes? If you didn't know, they are going up on our YouTube channel. Recycle. What's it? Mike, is Recycle Santa Cruz?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or you could hashtag Motorcycles and Misfits, Recycle Santa Cruz podcast, or Motorcycles and Misfits.
Yeah, just don't be jelly because we're so good looking.
Oh, I have an idea. Can we check in on our friend in Detroit, the doctor, and see how she's holding up?
She's been working. She works in Arizona. She's heading back home. She's doing good. She's got a strong voice, and she puts it out there and tells people what she thinks. So she's okay. She doesn't need my help for anything. I'll tell you that.
To come and update everybody.
Yeah. All right, so I think we're ready to get out of here. Hopefully, Mike, you can join us for more than 3 minutes next time.
Oh, come on.
Man, what the fuck, dude?
Come on.
No,
He's Mr. Big Time.
Yeah, exactly, Mr. Big Homeowner.
I'm trying to present the garage mahal so we have a proper Christmas party. Okay, I'm the only one working towards a Christmas party here. What are you guys doing?
Hey, Mike, let me save you here. At least you showed up for the end, unlike our friend Mr. Berrigan, who has been sent the link to join us and doesn't show up. Just throwing that one out.
How many times have you thrown that invite out? Twice.
Yoni, badminton.
Liza,
Mr. Yoni badminton.
I think we're getting close to moving this back into the studio next week. What do you think?
Well, that's a good question. I was asking everyone else. As long as it's permitted, I was curious when you guys feel that it's okay, that it's responsible and safe, and it's when people are comfortable with it.
Right.
Are any of you wanting to come back in the studio yet, or should we keep doing it this way?
Well, I think maybe a good idea would be to treat it just like everyone else treats it, and just do a minimum amount of people and enough distance, create ventilation, and then the rest of the people can join in on this. But I think that also too, you have a lot of people who enjoy the video version of what's happening here too.
Food for thought. The guidelines are one person for every 300 square feet.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's one person in the podcast room.
Yeah, so we're not going to do it just yet, but I will say John and I did eat in a restaurant yesterday without masks. It was weird.
It was weird.
Mm.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
And it was not a protest. It was we were invited in when we were picking up our to-go food and told that they are now allowing in restaurant dining. We're like, okay. And we were sitting right next to the front doors that were wide open. I'm like, okay, this is good. Because even though we were in the car together, I was running with the windows open in the car.
Yeah, we both had masks on the whole time.
Yeah.
But then when people were walking into the restaurant, I'm like, I feel creepy.
I think it was even the owner didn't have a mask on. And he walked in. It was
mask shaming.
But they were placing everyone on opposite ends of the restaurant. So everyone was as far apart as they could be in the restaurant.
It was weird though. I mean, even Liza and I were close, but we'd have to cover our
I kept
cover our mouths. Yeah. Like trying to eat and
yeah. So I guess maybe I'm not ready to go back to that just yet,
Yeah, and honestly, this is the very beginning of the second wave. So I think it's really best to wait a few more weeks and let's see what happens and take it from there.
Agree.
There you go. I think I'm just going to keep on assuming. So I think we're ready to get out of here. I got some editing to do. I got videos to do. I got so much to do. But again, thank you everyone, especially to the Misfits for showing up and making this happen. So let's get out of here. This is Liza.
Emma, darling.
This is
Bagel.
Doc. Oh, sorry. This is Doc. Stay safe, guys.
This is Dalton. Good luck. Luck not. Or luck knock. Sorry, I messed it up. But good luck knock.
This is Mike cruising hard.
Naked Jim, son.
And we're out of here.
Cool.
Cool.
All right.
Stay in school.